It is time once again for the weekly closes on our favorite Bitcoin miners. You might notice that I do sound different once again today. I am also, again, outside of my normal space here, so my audio is a little off compared to what you are used to. Sorry about how that's been kind of just the average of late, but it is what it is right now. Anyways, we're looking at CleanSpark here. We had another dismal week. In fact, we had another dismal week for pretty much all of the Bitcoin miners. Um, I don't know when the end is in sight for these, to be honest. It's really going to have to come down to the trade war ending and ending well. It's going to have to come down to global tensions, you know, slowing down and calming down here in the near future. Otherwise, we're going to continue to see a flight to safety. We're going to continue to see a significant devaluation of risk on assets, and that includes Bitcoin. All right, so let's take a look at what happened this week on CleanSpark, first of all. So CleanSpark, first of all, basically we made a lower low, and that's really quite bad, actually. So we come down here, yeah, we made a lower low, and we got a bit of a shooting star here candle. Now it's at the bottom of the range, which is not bad, but we've been in such bearish momentum week after week after week that I'm not going to get my hopes up about it. Okay, so you can see here that the MACD all the way at the bottom of the screen here has crossed down. It crossed down several weeks ago, months ago actually, and it's pointing straight down. The RSI is at 37. The stochastics are in the toilet. The BX trender is just getting deeper and deeper in the red. So all that is bad. Right now, our only real hope of any type is, what is this one? Oh yeah, so that's, bad. That crossed down under there a couple weeks ago. Basically, yeah, I want to see it get back above $9. 891 is kind of the line in the sand there to make a move up to about 1147. Let's turn on some order blocks. Okay, so we got some volumized order blocks here. To the downside, basically, if we lose 643, we could come all the way back down here, which would be around $4. If we can get above the 200-day moving average, or 200-week moving average, excuse me, we could find ourselves hitting this order block here at the bottom at 13, and that order block, that resistance goes all the way up to 21 for CleanSpark. So that's a bit rough, to be honest. And this is the consistent thing I've been saying over and over again, that we basically, as soon as we hit $10, we are in resistance all the way up to the top of the range. And unless we slice through it quickly with intense momentum, I don't see us really getting there easily. We very well may make a lower high lower than 1793 here that we made back in November. Okay, it's going to be a bit of a slog just to get back up to $18. At this point, it's going to be a bit of a slog just to get back to 15. All right, so this sucks. This is not so good. I don't know when this is going to come back, but when it does come back, it could come back quickly. It could very well come back quickly. The trade war clears up. A lot of these other wars, they clear up, and we're on our way trucking again. But right now, we are just trapped in this disgusting descending channel. Right here, let me draw it right there and there. Disgusting descending channel that we're just stuck in there, and I don't see it stopping soon, basically, unless big things change in geopolitical outlooks. All right, that's where we are. We are watching this yellow line here, this bright descending yellow line. Let me make this one white. I've got too many lines on here. So yeah, this yellow line right here. Let me turn off the effects real quick. There it is. Okay, that yellow line. We get above that, we're cooking. Until we get above that, I expect us to slam into it and go lower. Until we get above it. So that's what I'm looking at for CleanSpark. I'm not like super optimistic that we're going to get like some big price action out of CleanSpark until we see Bitcoin seeing significant improvements there. And that goes for the warrants as well. The warrants are back down to where I originally started purchasing them at 19 cents. That's really bad. That is actually really bad. So these warrants, they held strong for a while, but just no performance at all, and they're just coming down. Now, we gave back this entire big green candle here. That is bad. The fact that, so basically right now we could very well be coming back down to 2 cents on these things. That's very possible. So watching that close. I I don't know what to say about that, honestly. I'm still holding my warrants, most of them. I sold about, well, I sold a little bit at the top way back here, and then I bought more at 61 cents. I bought more at 36 cents. And then it's been kind of, I'm taking a bath on those right now. I believe I'm down about 50% on the warrants. Now, fortunately, I controlled that with position size. I made that about no more than like 4 or 5% of my portfolio. And that's the only Bitcoin mining related thing I'm still holding. But I don't know. It's hard to say. I feel like if we lose, like 15 cents, I might have to take my lumps, wait for it to come back down to 2 cents, and then maybe redeploy if things aren't still looking terrible there. And of course, nothing I say is financial advice and not a suggestion to buy, sell, or hold any asset whatsoever. When you invest in anything, you are taking the risk and you must do your due diligence and you must accept the consequences of those decisions that you make in relation to what you are buying and selling. Okay, let's take a look at Mara. Okay, Mara. All right. So we came to the bottom of this megaphone here and it's just hanging out. This is also doing an inverted hammer at the bottom of the move, which is I like that candle. And I would like to see this turn around next week. Like if next week we get a turnaround and it comes up above the 5-week moving average, maybe even comes up to like 15 bucks and hits this this line right here. The line is at, why is there a line there? What is that? Ah, okay, it's a channel. Yeah, it comes to the bottom of this channel here, about 15 bucks. Like, yeah, okay. So, I'm going to show you something right now, actually, that on this that you can do on any of these to kind of get an idea, like when it's in an aggressive downtrend like this, get an idea of where you may see things like hit and turn back around. So, like in terms of like fall further, right? So we'll bring a fib, right? And you can run the fib from the top to the bottom. So the top of the move was here back in November. I'm not going to do this on everyone, just this one so you can see it. And come to the bottom, which is right here, right? So right now, we could expect this to come up to about $19 before, which would be the 382, before trying to recommit back down to the lows, or maybe even as high as 26.27 right here, which would be the 786. So between the 786 would be, was it 25.43? Yeah, 23. Okay, so 23 to 26.50. We've got the 618 to 786, which would be a very high probability area that we would see it come up to here and then curl around and come back down to find support, which in this case would probably be about that $19 level, which is that most traded level, which is what we talk about here all the time. So if you take a fib and you run it, a fib retracement tool, you run it from the top of the move, the top of the swing to the bottom of the swing, and you can look at the different levels where you could expect price to interact and potentially roll back over. In this case, the 382, which is at $19, the 5 at 21, the 618 at 23.43, the 786 at 26.50 for Mara. Or if you're interested in more of a smaller move, you can go from this swing here, which is at the last time it really had any, like even a small swing, and you can kind of look, okay, so what am I expecting? And if this is the swing, right, from that high here in January, if that's the swing, then we'd be looking for a potential turnaround about 1567, maybe 1677, 1786, or at $19, and then possibly puke back down. That's something you can run on all these charts yourself. I'm not going to do all of them. That's just the one, so you can kind of see. That's if you're looking for things to go further down, you could take that fib and run it from the top to the bottom and see where you might expect the chart if it were going the other direction, right? To slam into resistance and come back down. So anyways, the BX trender looks bad, the stochastics look bad, the RSI looks bad, the MACD looks bad. Everything looks bad. Just like with everything else, Mara is not coming back until, honestly, Mara needs to get above 20 bucks. Otherwise, it's just chop. Let's take a look at Iren. Iren came all the way down to $6. Went to the lowest low. I think it swept the low there, yep, and went even lower than it did back here in August of 2024. So we gave back everything. This big cup I was watching, it was such a perfect cup. Yeah, that just, as soon as we failed right there, as soon as we started going below 978, that was it. That was done. And it came all the way back down, and it's even outside of this descending channel. So this is extremely aggressive. So what are we looking for here for a recovery on Iren? Basically, this line up here. So right now, that line would be up at $12, so 1187. That would be the least aggressive one. The most aggressive one would be this trend line here, running from the highs of 1370 on February 18th to current candle. That would be it right here. Let's make this one yellow. So yeah, if we break that, which currently that would be, let's zoom in. Currently, that's the aggressive one. If we were to break that this week, we would be getting above 673, and that would be saying that we're coming out of this falling wedge, which this is indeed a falling wedge. Come here, and we draw it like that. Look how those points are trying to touch each other, right? Okay, that is a falling wedge that we're in. Now, do I trust any of these? No, I'm not trusting anything right now because we are in an environment where one tweet sends the market reeling back down. There's no way to know for sure, even when we get technical melt-ups, technical breakouts or breakdowns, none of this seems to matter because one tweet and it all flips right back around the other way the next day. So it's really frustrating, and I don't think we're going to see an end to that until the trade war has been settled, until honestly we see some sort of concrete nearing of an end for Russia-Ukraine, until Israel and Gaza are calming down, until but it's really the trade war. The trade war is the big one, but the two other wars going on as well do have an impact. Not to the same degree for some reason, but well, it's because they don't affect most global businesses. Trade war does. But until we see resolutions, we're going to continue to see insane chop back and forth. Okay. Anyways, Iren, same thing. Technicals all look disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Yeah, so Iren, I'm not expecting anything out of Iren until it gets back into this big, larger channel here, and then I'll start thinking, okay, maybe it could go up into 12 bucks or something, but I wouldn't trust it past 12 because there is now a whole bunch of resistance right here for it to chew through. So you might get a double up, 6 to 12, and then I'd be taking my profit running on Iren. That's what I would do. So take a look at Riot. Sorry, not Iren. Riot. We already looked at Iren. Riot didn't quite sweep the lows from September back here in 2024. Not so bad. Right, I'm looking forward to break this red line and then potentially come up to like 10, maybe 12 bucks. Again, a little less than a double up, and then roll back over again. I'd be watching it for that. BX Trender is bad. Stochastics are bad. RSI is bad. MACD is bad. It's all quite bad. We did get a double top through here, right? We came in top, and we came down. And we did come down almost to the bottom, not complete. This could still hurt us a little bit. It could hurt us all the way down to about $6 on right about $6. Yeah, that could still, so this double top could still cause us harm. It hasn't completely finished it yet, but it's getting pretty close. And then if it breaks this red line here, then I'd be looking for it to come up to like maybe $11. And from there, that's when I'd start being like, is it going to turn back around and fall? Maybe I'll sell some. That's what I would do if I was buying it. I'm not buying it, but that's what I would do. All right. Bitdigital, just like as expected, is coming down to $2. It closed last week at $2.10. We're getting more intensely into this little falling wedge here. It looks like it really wants to hit that $2 mark. It very well may do so. All the technicals look terrible. If we break this line here, we could come up to $3. So we might get a 50% up jump from $2 to $3. But again, I wouldn't expect much more than that unless we get significant positive news out of the overall economy, end of the trade war, ceasefires and other wars, maybe even completely finding a resolution there. And until one of those two happens, especially the trade war ending, we're going to continue to see chop. We're going to continue to see false breakouts. We're going to continue to feel pain. All right, take a look at Bitfarms. How's Bitfarms doing? Bitfarms actually broke this yellow line, but it went back to just write it. So should I adjust this yellow line or should I just draw a new one? I'll draw a new one. I know, my lines, there's so many lines. I know. Let's go ahead and do this right here, right like that. And this one actually needs to go like this now. All right, so this is just tightening up. Get out of here. This is just tightening up and getting stronger and stronger to the downside. This is bad. If you're still in Bitfarms, I was sounding the alarm on Bitfarms all the way back here at in the twos. I was sounding the alarm and on this run back here in June, July of last year when it started to fail. I got out in the low $2 on my Bitfarms and I sold all of it because their drama was just compounding. Riot wasn't letting up. They were losing court cases against Riot for that. It broke, as soon as it broke this red line here, that was it. It was done. Who knows? And it's coming all the way to the bottom of this huge descending channel I've got here. This one right here. Here, let me make it a little. This channel right there, right? Coming all the way to the bottom of it. It's not quite there, but it looks like it wants that bottom. That might be the ultimate bottom. And right now that would be next week coming down to about 70 cents. Okay, 70 cents might be the ultimate bottom of Bitfarms. And then of course, I don't expect it to do much more than to one, it could come up to about $1.15, which would be, a 40% run up. And then it hits this resistance back here from the last couple of years where it might fail. Okay. And it's got that resistance between about $1.03 all the way up to $1.37. Okay. And if it gets through that, we'd be looking at it to come to that $2 resistance, right? Or sorry, the 171 resistance right here. And that resistance lasts all the way up to about 236. And then if it got above 236, well, wow, we could see it hit the top of this channel here, which would be a couple of weeks from now, which would be about $2. Okay, so you could see a little more than a double up. And then as soon as it hit, if it got up there, if it managed to get up to the top of this descending channel I've got here at $2, a couple of weeks or months later, I would be selling it. I'd be running for the hills from there. At that point, you've already got what, 150% from 70 cents. Just be happy with that. You're probably not going to get more. So Luna, the hero or zero is a 0. This one is absolutely running to 0 so far. It's just picking up pace constantly, trying to go for it. Where's my MACD? Whatever, it doesn't matter. It's this thing is technically broken. Okay, this is completely technically broken. There's nothing I can see. The most I could hope for at this point would be for it to come back to 286, and that's about it. I don't really see much more. I do see resistance here at 229, but I really don't expect anything else out of this thing. Let's turn on some order blocks, see if those show me anything. All right, maybe not even that high. 224 would be the top of the order block. Then we hit another one right here at 347, and then that's that. So yeah, this one ended up being a 0, it looks like. I don't know if this thing's going to survive this trade war, and that's why I kept this position very, very, very small, and I always telegraphed that it would be a very small 0 or hero play lottery ticket, and you don't put a lot of money into lottery tickets, and I did not. So I'm really not concerned about this going to 0. It can, so long. Sucks to suck, I guess. And we'll see it if it maybe can recover a little bit, but I'm not too concerned. I might just hold it until the end of the year and see where it is. Cifr down 8% last week. Oh yeah, I got some other drawings in here. This one it has hit critical bottom. So this one has reached critical mass. Let's go ahead. Critical velocity, maximum velocity, whatever. It's all the way to the bottom. So all the way to the bottom, and that's that. If this thing goes any lower on Cifr, and we come down to $1.29. Okay, so let's go ahead and draw that. Any lower, and we're opened up to $1.29. That really sucks. Right about there. Boom. $1.28 actually. Right? Any lower, and that's what's going to happen. If we can break out of this aggressive line here. So if we can break out of this aggressive line, which is right there, basically. That was really gross. Let me do that better. Let me get array. If we can break this insanely aggressive line right there, which is basically the 5-week moving average, if we can break that, then we've got room up to about 483, which is about a double up from here. I really don't see a scenario right now unless things get significantly better around the globe. I do not see these miners doing much more than a double up from where we are. That might be the best we get. Now, they could do better than that, of course, but that's going to require Bitcoin to really launch. And it's just not showing that it's going to do that at this time. Doesn't mean that it won't. It just means that right now things look bad. Okay, so here we go. Got this double top, and it came below that double top. Now, there is a silver lining here on all this. Now, we are trading at the lows from the bear market. We're trading at bear market lows for a lot of these things. Maybe not for this one. The bear market low on this one was all the way down at 45 cents. But we're trading in bear market territory, in crypto winter territory on all of these miners right now. And if you look at it compared to the price of Bitcoin, we're trading right now on the value of these Bitcoin miners as if Bitcoin is $15,000 or $20,000, not $80,000. Okay, so they are trading at significant discounts. So if things do improve like really improve on a tangible way, we could see these things come back to all-time highs. But it's going to take that much. It's going to take, clarity, economic clarity. Policy is going to have to be set. Businesses are going to have to be able to begin to act, in a normal fashion, conduct business without, wondering if rules are going to change next week. When we get back to that environment, only when we get back to that environment do we have a possibility of doing more than, 30, 40% pops, maybe 100% pops, before rolling right back over and coming back to the lows. It's really contingent on that. Let's take a look at Corz. How's Corz doing? We're still in this descending channel. It needs to break that channel. Once it breaks that channel, I'm interested. Until then, I'm just going to watch Corz potentially bleed out all the way down to maybe $6.11, maybe even as low as $5 on Corz. And then from there, I might take a risk position on Corz to see it come up to maybe 12, maybe 13. And again, if we get those Goldilocks conditions where the global trade is doing okay, global, military tensions have calmed down, then and only then would I be saying, okay, maybe we can go back up to 18, maybe we can touch 20. But without that, I'd be looking at a move up to from $5-6 to 11, maybe 12 or 13 at the highest. And then I'd be, if things are still like not politically and economically sound around the globe, well, then I'd be looking at taking my profits there if it even got that high. But of course, I'm still waiting. I'm just waiting. Sitting on my hands right now. Sometimes, taking no position is a position. Okay, Wulf is hitting critical support here. If it goes any lower, Wulf has opened up to $1.88. So pay attention to that. If we can get above the 5-week moving average, we are opened up to the top of this descending channel, which is 461. We break 461, then we've got room up to about 645 on Wulf. And that's about all there is to say about Wulf. It's in a bad descending channel. We're either coming all the way down to $1.88 or we're going up to 458. And if we can break 458, then maybe we could do $6. Let's take a look at Hut. How's Hut doing? Hut, same sort of thing as Wulf there. Came down. It's at a critical level here. It really needs to hold. If it loses this current level, it's going to come all the way down potentially to about 850. Okay, which is the bottom of this big ascending channel I've got here. So 850 for the bottom of that ascending channel, which it looks like it potentially will want. And if we get above the 200-week moving average, well, then we've got room up to about $17-ish, where we start running into the 50-week moving average, which might, hold us underwater. We really need to see the 5 and the 13 here, the yellow and the white start curling back up before we even have a chance at seeing these things turn around. It gets back up into this descending channel. Well, then the highest I can see it going is about maybe 22 before it gets slammed back down. Unless, again, we get into those Goldilocks conditions where everything is starting to turn around and come back up in a meaningful way. Right now, nothing is moving up in a meaningful way. It doesn't mean that it won't, and that it won't happen fast when it does. It just means that at this time, don't be expecting, Monday morning to see these things turn around 50%, start just raging upward without stopping. We really need to see some kind of clarity on these policies for trade. And until then, and only until then, only when that happens will we see like really tangible moves that will hold more than a couple of hours. Okay, right now Hive is going to come down to 136. All right, it wants 136. So let's go ahead and draw a line on 136. It wants it. I don't know what to tell you about it, but it wants it. It wants 136. Let's go to the coordinates. 1.36. Why does it want 136? Well, it wants 136 because of this low back here, which is 136, which was December 2022, which was bottom of the bear. Okay, Hive is all the way back down to bear market levels. And even if this thing turns around right here, it could come up to about 278, which is not bad. We're talking about almost a double up from current prices. It would be a double up from that 136 low. Okay, and then we start hitting all of this resistance right here. All of this resistance right in that little space right there. When we hit that, it's going to slam into that like a brick wall and probably hold it for a bit. And we'll have to see a new bullish structure take form there. And then it could potentially come back up to this yellow line here, which if it does it in, let's say, December this year, we'd be looking at 466. And that would be the highest I think Hive could potentially get. So it'd be like 136 low up to 466 high. And that is the best I see Hive doing in like the best scenarios, the best conditions. All right, yeah, and that's it. Right now I'm waiting for it to break this red line. It breaks that red line, I'm interested. Hits 136 and doesn't go further, I'm interested. Until then, what I really want to see is a couple of weeks with volume underneath this blue line. See how once volume really started getting above it, like it ramped up and then just immediately rolled over. And we've just been getting volume spikes above it for a while now. But when we're doing decently well, notice how there's way less volume back here as it's just climbing up. And then when things started getting volatile, the volume started getting really intense and is mostly selling off. All right, let's take a look at CAN real quick. How's CAN looking? CAN, same sort of scenario. CAN is at critical support. It needs to hold this, otherwise it's coming all the way down to the bottom here at 71 cents. Sounds a lot like Bitfarms, where at 71 cents, I would expect it to either bounce hard there, or if it doesn't, things are going to get bad. So this white line, 172, excuse me, or 72 cents. Yeah, it hits that, I'd be interested in a bounce up to maybe $1. So it'd be like a 30% bounce. And then from there, I'd have to wonder, is it going to hit this yellow line here and fall further, or is it going to break that yellow line and come all the way back up to test the middle of this disgusting double top here and hit 171? That would be my interest. I'm probably not gonna buy CAN. Just full disclosure, I'm probably not gonna buy CAN. That's just what I would expect from it. Of course, remember, nothing I say is financial advice and not a suggestion to buy, sell, or hold any asset whatsoever. Do your own due diligence, come to your own conclusions, make your own decisions, and take responsibility for yourself. It's very important. All right, so Btdr's at lows. Lows. Critical level. Again, I'm going to say that a lot right now. Critical level. It goes any lower than where it currently is at 910. Any lower, and we come all the way back down to the bottom of this range, potentially, which is going to be about $6. We hit that $6, I'd be interested potentially in it breaking this white line. It already kind of broke that white line, so let me reassess that, kind of put it right about there. There we go, something like that. Okay. We're looking at a bit of a megaphone there, still coming right in this bottom line. We break this white line, maybe it come back up to the top here about 1287, which would correspond with some tops here from the left, right? 1287, some tops from the left there. If we can take out 1287, well, then we've got room up to, I'd say maybe $19, but 18 is also going to be a bit of a struggle on Bitf. So watch that. All the technicals look terrible, just like with everything else, look terrible. I don't expect it to get any better anytime soon. MicroStrategy didn't make that new high. Did not. Oh, my fractal's off. Why is my fractal off? It's not in the right place. This fractal. Hey, this fractal should have looked something like that. There we go. Okay. Yeah, we're in that area where we could dip again back to the lows, and then maybe we might come back up to like 366, maybe if we're lucky back to 400 on MicroStrategy, but that could be, look at this fractal corresponding with the market, the Bitcoin expected peak in November, and that is about $408 for MicroStrategy. So not a lot higher than where it currently is, but it's $100. Like if you had 100 shares, yeah, you're gonna make about a little over 10 grand, but that's about it. That's all I'm really expecting out of MicroStrategy this cycle until the next 4 years come to pass. The stochastics are looking bad. This might be yellow, but this is wispy and purple, the slow one. So this yellow, this yellow looks kind of weak like that, that's indicative of a bear flag. So this could end up just breaking right back down and coming all the way back down to the lows here of 178. So don't think that stochastic turning yellow there is a good sign in this scenario. Like, let me find another area where it did something like that. And where the yellow was just gross. Let's see here. Is there one? I mean, this kind of did like that. But look, yeah, this was similar right here. Like where it got kind of wispy. And it did come up, but look, it just came up to that same like high right there. This was 2021. Okay, so we're doing the exact same thing. This is that fractal I was showing you, right? Same exact thing here, right? This wispy, disgusting stochastic was kind of coming up and going, oh yeah, we're gonna go higher and higher and higher. And it did. It came up similar to the similar high right here, right? But that took all the way until November from June. So we're in March, April right now. So this one was in June. Took all the way until November from June to reach an equal high back here, which didn't even come close to that blow off top, which was what we saw in November. And then it just dumped all the way back down to baseline. Okay, so That's what we're expecting for MicroStrategy. I do think that there is room for it to maybe hit 400 at some point in time this year, but I don't really see it going much higher than that unless Bitcoin does something insane. Okay, let's take a look at coin real quick. Coin is falling out of this descending channel. Coin likely wants to come down further, maybe 160, and then maybe turn around from there. We'll be watching. There, yeah, 160 on the upside, 222. Now let's look at something that is actually doing decently here. GDX, gold miners. Gold miners are actually doing okay. Look at that. Look at, so while all the Bitcoin miners are dumping, gold miners have been doing exceptionally well. And if we go to a monthly chart on here, you can see that it is actually doing a bit of a breakout. Look at that. We got a bit of a breakout. We had a, see, that was the high from before. It got above it a little bit, and it's above the bodies there. So that's actually not so bad. I'm actually waiting for it to maybe come back down to this line here, or potentially back down to about $40.71. And then I would be very, very interested in picking this up for a move higher, potentially for a move up towards this resistance over here. Let me draw it, this resistance over here. And that would be, you know, about $53, between $53 and $63 for that one. So I'm watching that right now. That's the thing that's like got my interest right now. There's also silver. Silver hasn't quite broken out yet compared to Bitcoin, compared to gold. It hasn't really broken out yet. And I really want to see it. Here's a channel. Here, I'll draw the channel for silver. Let me get in here, go to parallel channel. Let me draw my channel, something like this, and like that. All right, something like that. I'd like to see it maybe come, maybe not this one. Oh, that's a daily. Could come back to this and go higher, or it could come all the way back down to like, let's say, like 28 and then drive higher. But I'm watching silver. Silver's on an uptrend. Everything else that I buy is not right now. So anyways, that's all I've got for you today. Please like, comment, subscribe, share this video. Check out the Trade Cave store, link in the description as well as the channel bio, and have a profitable day.